Hiya, I hope you're keeping well. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to do a whole video about Jo Malone. Jo Malone is one of my favourite brands and they've got a new fragrance out, and I was just thinking, okay, brilliant, I'm going to tell you a bit about that because I really like it. And then I went upstairs and I thought over the years, and I mean, I have got stuff here from years ago, like one of them's discontinued that I'm going to show you. Over the years, that is a brand that I've really come to know and trust, and it's really in my everyday routine. But I think the thing is, with the likes of Instagram and perhaps doing a makeup video, I'm so busy showing you this is new in, this is how to do this, that half the time I think I haven't even shown you the things that are in my bathroom or in my room all the time. And Jo Malone's one of those brands, so I just thought I'd talk you through. Basically, one of the reasons why I really love them is I used to work at Selfridges years ago, and I worked for Selfridges themselves, not for any one brand. So I was able to basically spend time with all of the brands and learn about all of them. And I just loved spending time on Jo Malone. I learned so much about the brand. If you're in Birmingham, by the way, you've got to go to Teresa. She's just the best person to go to. She knows everything about all of the fragrances, and you'll just never get lovelier service from anyone. But that's kind of how I developed this love affair with them. So essentially, they're a fragrance brand. Everything is unisex. So, you know, for you, for your other half, for someone in your life, they're all going to be great. And what they really love you to do is layer things. So they're all designed to be worn in little twos. So for example, they'd love you to get 2 fragrances and then kind of make your own blend that's specific to you. But you know, up to you whether you do that. I wear lots of them on their own. But here are a few of my favourites that I just thought I would tell you about. So first of all, the one that I was going to show you today, how Jo Malone work, this is Fig and Lotus Flower. How they work is at this time of year, every year, they bring out a new kind of hero that's going to exist in the permanent collection, because through the year they might do like limited fragrances, but one of them will always stick. And this Fig and Lotus Flower is one of the newest ones. Now, the last few years, I think they've brought out lovely fragrances, but this is one of my favourites I've ever smelt from them. I really love Fig in fragrances. I just love that it's so earthy and there's something a bit dirty about it, and like you've been in the great outdoors or you've been in the woods or whatever it is. And I think this is so earthy and kind of, what's the word? Green, and has that lovely outdoorsy quality to it, but it's actually quite light. If I think of other fig fragrances that I love, the Pixi Fig is incredible, and it is so, you literally feel like you're smelling the branches in your hands. I love Diptyque Philosykos. That's one of my favourite figs, and again, that's quite bitter and deep and strong. This Fig and Lotus Flower, even though you've got those kind of grubby qualities of the fig, it's actually very light and pretty. And again, I say that I think men or women would love it, but I think it's a really unusual take on fig, and I just think it's really pretty. So that is the new one for this year. But some of the ones that I love the most have been there for years and years and years. One of the ones that I absolutely love is English Pear and Freesia. So this one is so sweet. If you don't like sweet things, you're not going to like this, because the pear is so, it's just like you feel like you've just bitten into a juicy pear. Very, very sweet, very, very pretty, very girly. It's just incredibly light and uplifting and a really beautiful soft smell. For something a little bit more still on the sweet lines, but a bit more spicy, a bit more oriental, Mimosa and Cardamom is absolutely beautiful. This one, I think this is lovely for this time of year. It's got a little kick to it that is a little bit heavier than your average sweet smell. You can definitely kind of tell that spicy undertone to it. And I just love that because I got into the habit. I had a few weddings in a few consecutive summers and I wore this to all of them. And it just really reminds me of like nice times. That was something actually basically this morning we had a Zoom about the new Jo Malone fragrance. And another thing I meant to say to you, actually, Emma from Jo Malone, I'm going to put her page under here. If you ever have any Jo Malone questions, she describes fragrances in such a unique way. She's so great at animating them, and when she describes them to you, you just feel like you can smell them right away. She was saying that fragrance is one of the few things that can kind of transport you back to a different time. And I think that is so true. And like for me, Mimosa and Cardamom, it reminds me of all of those weddings and all of those good times. One of the things they actually do at Jo Malone that I used to love when I spent time on there is they do a service for you if you're a bride and kind of help you to choose either a fragrance or a fragrance pairing that'd be beautiful for you to wear on your wedding day. And then you can always revisit that smell and remember what you felt like and that whole experience. I love doing like bridal makeup, and I always say if I'm at someone's wedding trial, always make sure that you've thought about which fragrance you're going to wear, because you might want that like on your anniversary every year or whatever fragrance you choose. I just think it's worth considering. You know, you might love that as your special memory of your wedding day for years to come, or whatever kind of occasion it is. Anyway, Pomegranate Noir. Pomegranate Noir is like the hero from Jo Malone London. I absolutely love it. There are others I love even more, but Pomegranate Noir is lovely. This is a brilliant place to start if you're new to the brand, but surprisingly, even though it's the hero, it is very dark and sensual, and it's very nice for men or women. It's definitely beautiful for either. The home products in this, because Jo Malone do fragrances, candles, room sprays, diffusers, you name it. The home products in this are beautiful, and I think especially for this time of year, that kind of deep sensual smell is going to be lovely. But what I would say is, for the kind of hero of the range, this really is quite powerful. So if you're someone that prefers a more delicate fragrance, you might wish to prefer trying one of the lighter options. I haven't got it to hand, but actually one of my favourites that I'd really recommend you go and have a smell is Earl Grey and Cucumber. I remember when I first started to get to know Jo Malone, some of the fragrance names I was like, well, what does that mean and what is that going to smell like? And I remember hearing Earl Grey and Cucumber and thinking, what on earth? But basically it is just really crisp, clean, fresh. You just smell clean and you feel clean. That, for example, is a beautiful one. If you're thinking of, you know, dipping a toe in, it's definitely one to kind of beeline for. What does also happen, which is very sad, is say every year when the new one comes in, sometimes your favourites leave as well. I was actually going to go on a whole spiel about one of my favourites, which is black cedarwood and juniper, and I was looking on the website for it before I started and it's not there anymore, which is such a shame. I looked on a few of the retailers as well to see if anyone had it left, and they didn't. So, you know, it's always lovely in a way, because you always have those staples that are always there, and then some that come for a little time, and some that, you know, once you've got your bottle, you've got your bottle. Blue Agava and Cacao. You can't get this in stores anymore, but I actually had a look and they still have it online, so I might get a bottle of it. This is empty now. I got this years and years ago, and this is the most unusual fragrance. It's one of the most unusual fragrances I've ever smelled, and I think that's what's lovely about Jo Malone, is sometimes they completely take you by surprise. This smells fizzy. I remember Nina that used to work at Jo Malone, when she first showed this to me, she was like, it smells fizzy. It reminds me of cola bottles and sweets, and it is the most bizarre smell. And I used to always pick it up and go, that's so weird, who would wear that? And then I ended up loving it. I was just so fascinated by it and drawn to it. But anyway, they're the colognes. They're beautiful. They're unisex. Men and women can wear them. When you go to a boutique, they offer so many lovely services. I just think as well, Jo Malone is somewhere that I associate with really lovely service. You go, you have a chat, you can have a hand and arm massage, so they can show you well, this will lead me on to, they can show you their body products, because some people, you might not want like an actual cologne, but a little bit of body lotion that's scented might be more than enough for you. And the body products, I'm going to show you a few of those as well. They last really well and they're really well scented. So like I've got the body lotion of Pomegranate Noir. Honestly, if you put that on in the morning, or even to be fair, like if you were someone that showered at night time and put it on before bed, the smell of that, it will really, really last. One thing to note when you go, these are the two new ones that I've got to hand. You've got your clear bottles or your dark bottles. Your dark bottles tend to be a lot stronger. This is the newest fragrance, the cypress and grapevine. Now, I think it's really lovely. It's not something I would personally wear. This is very sharp. It's very masculine. It's really quite like, for lack of a better word, it feels really masculine and just boyish. And you can really, I feel like if you've got a man in your life and it's his birthday or it's Christmas or something and you weren't sure what to get him, this is a really lovely like alpha male kind of smell. Not to say that women wouldn't love it as well. There are lots of men's fragrances that I wear and love, but I just think for me that's a little bit too sharp, and it's really beautiful though. But anyway, they are a little bit stronger than your originals, and the same can be said for the body creams. So I've got two here. There's Mimosa and Cardamom again. I love the Mimosa and Cardamom. Myrrh and Tonka, for example, this smells edible. It smells delicious. It's very sweet. It smells like kind of caramel, maybe ice cream, really like you could literally just eat it, but it's very deep. That's what they do really well as well. If they come up with like an edible ingredient, they'll put something deep and musty at the bottom of it so that it's not, you don't feel silly, you still feel elegant, grown up, sophisticated, but you have those fun little elements to them. The body creams are a lovely way of, first of all, they're really hydrating. I've had those for ages and I'm nowhere near finished either of them. They last a really, really long time. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, I've just finished a Pomegranate Noir that I must have had for about a year, and I'm just about to start. This is Poppy and Barley. These are body and hand washes. I can't tell you how long they last. I have one of these in the shower. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Australian Bodycare. They've got it on QVC. It's these huge body washes. They're antiseptic, all the rest of it. There's tea tree oil in them. They make you feel really clean and they are lovely and soft and all the rest of it, but they smell a bit weird. And what they often say at Australian Bodycare is like, use this as your body wash to feel clean. You know, you're antiseptic, it's got your tea tree oil in, all the rest of it. And then you might want to do like a second body wash with something that smells nice. So that's what I use my Jo Malone for. I basically do my proper have a wash with my Australian Bodycare and then use this afterwards to just leave a nice scent on my skin. It really does leave a lovely scent. The scent travels through the house. I haven't actually touched on candles because I don't have one to hand. I do love the Jo Malone candles and I use them a lot, but I just haven't happened to have one at the moment. I'm also a big believer in like, if I get something like a candle, I'll use it to the bitter end and enjoy it. And I've definitely used a few recently. In terms of candles, there's one called Green Tomato Leaf. If you know anybody with a green thumb that maybe loves the greenhouse or the garden, it is such a beautiful smell. And again, I remember first seeing it and thinking, well, who'd want a candle that smells like green tomato leaf? But it just smells like you've had a lovely day gardening, or you're at your grandparents', or there's just something very nostalgic about it and very simple and clean. One last smell that I wanted to tell you about, wood sage and sea salt. It's very salty, soft, musty, sits really well on its own. On its own, it's a lovely smell if you just want to feel clean but don't want to smell overly fragranced. But layered under any existing fragrance that you have, it just gives it a depth and a quality. But I'm nearly at 15 minutes. That is it from me, and I hope you enjoyed.